viewers, welcome to CEC lectures. Myself Dr. Preeti Jagmani from Department of Computer Science, Aryabhat College, University of Delhi. So in this series of Introduction to Programming in C++, our previous lecture was about concepts of object oriented programming paradigm. So in that lecture we have seen what actually an object is, what is class, and what is the correlation between this object and class. So from there we are going further in the direction of exploring object oriented programming paradigm into greater details. So let me have a recap, let me have a quick recap in a nutshell. That class is actually a blueprint of which we are going to create the instances for which we are going to create the objects. Now within the class we are having its members. One is data members, another one is member function. So member function is having all the code which is used to access the data members, which are data variables or simple variables we can say. So class is basically an entity, we can say, or a user defined data type. Within that user defined data types we are having two things. One is data members, in which the variables are there. Another one is member function, in which we will be putting functions. Those functions are having code to access the corresponding data members. Now coming to, if we want to have the objects of the class, so what is happening when we declare the class, when we define the class, we can say there is no memory allocation, only the specifications for that object or for that class is defined, no storage space is allocated. Now in order to use the data which is present in the form of data members through the member functions which are defined inside the class, we need to create objects. And how to create objects? That's a very simple syntax. We need the class name, for example car, and the object name is Maruti Suzuki. So car Maruti Suzuki, or car Mercedes. In case of box we can say box B1. So class name is the box, B1 is the object name, or class name is box and B2. So B2 here is the object name. Now what do we want to do? As I have told you that we need to create objects. If we want to use the data and access the functions defined in the class, we need to create objects. So even after creating objects, how are we going to access data members and member functions? That is using an operator which is dot. We will be using dot operator with the object in order to access data members and member functions. Let us see how. For example, the name of the object is obj or obj, and you want to access the member functions which is defined having print name. Then you will have to write obj dot print name. So if name of the object is obj and the function which you want to access is print name, now the parenthesis after print name shows that it is actually a member function, not a data member. In case of a data member there will be no parenthesis. So if you want to access that member function, we will say obj, then dot operator, and then the name of the member function. Now who all can access which all data members? That actually depends upon the access modifier or access control specifications of that data member. So accessing a data member depends solely on the access control of that data member. The access control is given by the access modifiers in C++. So how are we going to define the access control? With the help of access modifiers. How many access modifiers are available? We have three. We have public, private and protected. So either we will say one data member is public, or we can say data member is private, or we can say data member is protected. So depending upon the access modifier, public, private or protected, the access of data member can be given or can be taken back from any member function. Now let us try to see it with the help of a complete example. So we have hash include iostream.h and using namespace standard. Now I have declared one class. Now please remember, please notice that I'll be writing main after this, so that's a convention, not a rule. So I have written class is the keyword as I told you. Then demo is the name of the class. So demo here is you can say is the name given to the class by user. Then there is an access specifier saying public. Within the curly bracket I am having public followed by colon. I have told you in the previous lecture that always access specifier will be followed by colon, not by the semicolon. Now I am just having one data member and one member function within the class. So my data member is a simple variable name of type string. So I will declare it as string name and then semicolon. While coming to the member functions, I can say I am having only one member function which is printing that name on the screen with the help of cout. So void print name, then within the definition of this function only a simple cout statement, cout name is name. So curly bracket opening and curly bracket closing around this void print name body, and then you can notice closing curly bracket followed by semicolon that indicates the end of the class. So class is beginning from the curly bracket which is given just below the class and the class name. So class keyword, then the name of the class demo, then an access specifier public, data members, so that data members and member functions are public, are having public access. So string name, so name is a data member, the type is string. Then in member functions we have print name whose return type is void and it is not having any parameters. So parentheses are we can say empty here, and within the body of print name you have one cout statement. So here you can say within a bundle class we have taken two things, one is one data member, another one is member functions, declared them both as public. My member function is of type string, so it's kind of a normal variable declaration and a normal function definition within the body of the class, and then we are going to close the class. I hope till this point the structure of the class or syntax of writing the class is quite pretty clear here. Now what are we missing here is we don't have any main function till this point. So we are going to write main in our kind of standard way. We will say integer main, and now we are going to declare an object of that class demo, and I have written demo obj1. So demo is the class which is already being defined before this main, and then we have obj1 as the object followed by the semicolon. Now with this object I am going to use those two we can say members of the class. One is the data member name, another one is the member function which is print name. So I said obj1 dot name, that means the name which is belonging to obj1 I have assigned it as, let's say, Abhi. Then in order to access the member function I'll again use the obj1 which is the name of the object dot operator and then the name of the member function, which is print name. Now please notice that print name here is not returning anything because and not accepting anything as parameters as well, because this is what is given in the definition of the print name, that it was void print name and then parenthesis open and then parenthesis close without any we can say without any parameters or without any arguments, and then we are having a return 0. So when in this main, what have we done? We have declared an object of our class demo, which is demo obj1. obj1 is again a user given name, it could be o1 or anything else. Then obj1 dot name is equals to abhi. obj1 dot print name has been called because that's a member function, and then simple return 0 in order to satisfy the return type of main as integer. So this is what we have done. So simple 4 statements: declaring the objects, calling the data member, calling the member function, return 0. That's all a simple kind of we can say program. What is going to be the output of this particular program is cout name is abhi. That will be printed on the screen, because what will happen now, let us try to see what is actually happening when we call this main. So execution actually begins from the main, and the first line of main says demo obj1. So compiler will look for the definition or the definition of this demo user defined data type. So it is available before main, so that whole demo structure is taken, and one object, one instance of that particular class demo has been we can say created. Now this obj1 is having its own memory for storing the members. So one member here is that string, and we have said obj1 dot name is equals to abhi. That means it is taking up the name as abhi for that obj1 and then printing that name abhi along with the obj1 dot print name. Now let us try to understand that we are going to have one more object. For example, we said demo obj2 object 2. So I can say object 2 dot name is equals to Preeti and then object 2 dot print name. So here what we have done, that we have taken two objects. For both the objects we have while creating the objects, memories have been allocated, and as memories have been allocated, we are storing the names which are abhi, and for the another one it is Preeti, and we are accessing those names abhi and Preeti using the print name function. So that's what is the idea of your class, and how are we going to use that class within the function main. Now coming to the another idea that we have seen till this point, we have seen that there was a class definition, and within that class definition we have taken void print name, and the whole definition of void print name has been given inside that class only. So whenever we are talking about member functions in a class, there are two ways to define a member function. One is either we can define that member function inside the class definition, which we have done in our previous example, or we can have it outside the class definition. Now whenever we are having it outside the class definition, we need to tell the compiler very explicitly that this particular member function is defining to which class, or the scope of this member function is for which class. And whenever we talk about the term scope, so in order to define a member function outside the class, we need to use a scope resolution operator. Now what is a scope resolution operator? A scope resolution operator is symbolized by two colons, one colon and followed by the second colon. So two colons is actually a scope resolution operator, which is going to tell the compiler that the function name which is defined on the right side, which is given on the right side of that scope resolution operator, is actually tied up with the class name which is given on the left side of the scope resolution operator. We will soon see it in the form of an example. Let us see what is happening. So, for we have one class demo, then the access specifier I have told you public, we have a string name, and I have taken one more data member here which is integer id. Then there are two member functions, one is print name, another one is print id. Within this definition of the class, please notice that the member function print name is not defined here. That means it is not defined inside the class definition, while if you can see print id, that definition of the print id is given inside the definition of the class. So, these are two ways of defining a member function, either within the class like we have done with print id, or outside the class like we are going to do with print name. So, print id is having its own definition here, and then we have just written, we can say, the syntax of print name function here, and the class definition is complete. Now, what are we going to do? We are actually going to define this function print name outside the class, but in case of let us say for example my file is having 3 classes. So, those 3 classes may have their own print name. So, there could be a name collision. So, what are we trying to say here is we need to define the scope of any member function if we are defining it outside the class definition. Inside the class definition, it is clear that print id is bundled up with demo, but if we are going to define it outside the demo, we need to use a scope resolution operator. Now, see how. So, here we have seen void demo, then scope resolution operator, print name. Now, what is happening here? What is void? Void is the return type of your print name, demo is the class, followed by a scope resolution operator, which is again followed by the name of the function. So, print id was defined inside the class definition, while print name is being defined outside the class definition, which is the return type, then name of the class, scope resolution operator, name of the function, and then you will have definition here. So, basically what it is doing. So, now within the main function, so the complete definition of the class is here, which is two data members, one is name, another one is id, and one function to print that name, another function to print that id. Print name is defined outside the class, print id is defined inside the class, but for outside the class you will have to use scope resolution operator in a correct way, which is the return type, class name, scope resolution operator, function name followed by the body of the function. Now, within this main, how are we going to use this thing which we have seen right now? So, the class is demo, and within this class we have, for this class we have created only one object, which is obj1. Now, obj1 dot name is equals to, let us say, xyz or whatever I have given. obj1 dot id is equals to 15. So, obj1 dot name is equals to xyz, obj1 dot id is equals to 15. Now, we are going to call those two functions which are print name and print id. So, in order to call those two functions, we have obj1 dot print name followed by a parenthesis, because no parameters are supposed to be passed here. And then we have, just after printing one \n, or just after printing one giving one line break, we have obj1 dot print id, which is followed by a return 0. So, we have assigned name and id with two values, and we are going to print those name and values of name and id by using print name and print id. So, that is what the idea is. obj1 dot name is equals to xyz, obj1 dot id is equals to 15, obj1 dot print name, obj1 dot print id within the definition of the main. And here we have seen how to define the functions, your member functions inside the class definition and outside the class definition, both we have seen. Now, the next, which is very important and a concept connected with, closely connected, I can say, with your class objects and member functions, is basically a special method which is invoked automatically at the time of object creation, and that special method is known as constructor. So, I repeat, a constructor is a special method which is invoked automatically at the time of creation. So, whenever an object is being created, your constructor is invoked automatically. Now, why do we need constructor? What is the need of the constructor? So, constructors are used to initialize the data members of the new objects. How? I am going to explain in a while. And the important thing, very important thing here is, as I have told you, that this is a special method which is invoked automatically at the time of object creation. You need not to invoke it explicitly. It is by default, it is invoked automatically. Constructor in C++ is having the same name as that of the class. So, for example, if your class is saying the name of the class is demo, so the name of the constructor is also demo, the same thing, D in capital. So, D in capital here as well, we do not want any change. So, this is actually an indication to the compiler that this function which is having the same name as that of the class is the constructor of that class. So, in order to differentiate the constructor, we are using the same name as per the rules. Now, there can be two types of constructors in C++. One is default constructor, another one is parameterized constructor. So, default constructor and the parameterized constructor, as the name indicates, default constructor is something which is generally not, which is not having parameters, while if you pass parameter in the constructor, it is defined, it is having the name as parameterized constructor. So, the constructor which is having no argument invoked at the time of creating the object is known as default constructor, while a constructor which is having the arguments, also it is invoked at the time of creation of objects, but it is having some parameters. So, that kind of constructor is known as parameterized constructor. So, let us recap the concept of constructors once again, and then we will see the utility. So, constructor basically we can say a special method which is invoked automatically by the system at the time of object creation. Why are we using it is very important. We need to initialize the data members of the new objects separately. For example, I have taken let us take a practical example. In an HR system or in an organization, whenever an entry of the employee is done, an ID is being generated for that employee. So entry of the employee is done at the time of entering into the organization. That means an object corresponding to that employee has been created and employee ID has been assigned. So employee ID is assigned before any other processing we are going to do. So basically we can say this is something which is needed to be connected with constructor, or this is something which is needed to be invoked with the help of a constructor. That means the moment an object is created, an employee ID has been assigned to that particular employee. So this we can help with the help of a constructor, which is a special method having the same name as that of the class, and generally it is used to initialize the data members of the new object created automatically at the time of object creation, having two types. One is default constructor, another one is parameterized constructor. So let me sum up the lecture now. Till this point we have seen in detail what is object and what is what do you mean by class, what is the correlation between them, how to declare classes, how to declare objects, and detailed into member functions, that how can we, what are the two ways in which we declare member functions, one within the definition of the class and outside the definition of the class. And then we have seen the brief concepts of the constructor. So more details in upcoming lectures. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. Thank you for a patient hearing.